Just get rolling and start talking.
Yeah, that sounds good. Repping the gear.
Yeah, we got Penny wore it the other day, and we were on the court. He was playing. He was just doing a little workout on the court with a basketball. He wore it.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is he doing it with history?
No, he and Bone were going through some drills. You want me to take it?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome into episode 30, right, Nathan? 30 of the Mind of a Coach podcast. Dirty 30, we made it here. Steph Curry range. Nate, how you doing today, man? How you doing? You good?
I'm good. Happy Passover for everybody listening. I'm saying it in advance, but happy Passover for everybody listening. Happy Easter weekend. Hope you guys enjoy your families.
Mm-hmm. I just had to, whatever. Yeah. What's new with you, man? What's going on? What's up in Cleveland, Tennessee?
What was that?
I don't know. Head is all over the place right now. My head is all over the place. But I don't know. What's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. Just guys are on spring break this week.
Okay.
So trying to get some work done around the office. Grind doesn't stop.
Y'all been busy?
I mean, a little bit. We're trying to get camps and everything situated. Talked to Russ, actually, and he said that you guys might not be having camps.
Yeah, we're not 100% sure yet. We haven't got the okay.
That's crazy.
Have y'all gotten the okay? Like, y'all are for sure having them?
Yeah, we're having them. I mean, we had elite camp last year in August.
Yeah,
yeah. This past year during COVID in August, and it went well. So, I mean, there's no reason after a year goes by and we know a little bit more. I mean, I still feel like who knows, but I mean, vaccines out, everyone feels like they know a little more comfortable. So stuff's opening up. So might as well open up.
I think Lipscomb said they were opening up normal next fall. Like
they should. I mean, that should be everyone's plan, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Everyone's plan should be like, all right, everything's going back to normal. We can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Etc. And then just in case like a wild strain of events happens and hospitals just can't host anybody anymore and just gets too crowded, then you can go back into what we need to do. But dude, everybody's got to start living a normal life again.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, if you need to dial it back, go ahead and plan for it. You're right. Plan for it. And if you need to dial it back, then dial it back. But I mean, if not, let's just
now, like everyone has emergency plans, right? Like what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Well, guess what? You just have to add what if COVID is still going on to your emergency plan. But if you're not preparing, like nothing, like everything's gonna be all right, dude. I think you're spinning your wheels. So,
dude, I mean, is somebody gonna hire you as a president of their school soon? Because you are just music to my ears right now.
You're gonna make me blush, but no, they should not hire me as a president of their school.
Oh man, dude, this transfer portal, we got 1,100 kids in the transfer portal already.
Dude, I saw a stat, Asa, the other day that said last year their total number of transfers in the portal, I want to say it was like 1,028, 1,058, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
And right now, and we are still in March.
Tournament's not even over yet.
Is 1,100 kids.
That's insane. That's insane, man. I think, dude, a lot of these kids, it's going to be tough for them to find places. A lot of them, it's going to be tough. And I think I was talking in the office today. I kind of think that after this year, it might kind of realign some things. And instead of kids always just wanting to jump because it's the cool thing to do, I think that I don't know. This is my hope, is that maybe some of them will take a step back, like, well, all right, maybe that's not the move because maybe that's not the move because it's going to be hard for a lot of people to find a spot. It just is.
Yeah. And, first and foremost, I completely agree with you. It should.
Yeah.
If anything, it should. People should look back on it and be like, okay, this isn't working out. I need to figure out how to make it work here. Hopefully it creates some resilience within the people, but who knows? But I've talked to a handful of kids that are in the portal, and they're talking about how excited they are to be recruited again.
Yeah.
Basically, I don't know how your recruitment was, but I did not want to be recruited again.
I mean, it's a little exhausting. And
I'm done with the recruiting.
Right. It's fun to enjoy it once, but then after it's like, all right, okay, cool. I kind of want to just go, chill and chill in my home with everybody, find a place that a good fit for me. And then, that'd be it. But
Yeah, and we were also, we were so lucky because we were at Lipscomb, but like the family bond that we had, I feel like it would have been so tough for any of us to leave.
Yeah, no doubt. I think everybody, we were all pretty close, and that would have been tough. Thoughts on NCAA tournament? I mean, obviously brackets are just completely busted all over the place, which is all right. I don't think I had one Final Four team.
All right, so we got to check. So we picked the Elite Eight and Final Four games last week. Okay,
we picked the championship too, didn't we? Didn't we just go all the way through?
Did we?
Let me see. Where's my?
I think we just picked it to the Final Four.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, we did.
So you had? Did you have Gonzaga versus USC?
I had Gonzaga versus yes, I had Gonzaga versus USC, and I picked Gonzaga.
So you got all those.
This is not originally. Let us clarify. This was not our original bracket. We just redid it from the Sweet 16 on to the Final Four.
Okay, so 3 for 3 in column 1 in the West. Asa, I went 3 for 3 as well. I hit Zags over Creighton, USC over Oregon, and Zags over USC. Dude, Gonzaga looks so good. I mean,
oh my gosh, dude.
Maybe I'm just speaking crazy.
No, dude.
It's not Gonzaga, Baylor in the championship.
Yeah. Dude, they're incredible, man. I mean,
two juggernauts.
John Rothstein tweeted yesterday. I think he was like, he tweeted out like the 6 most dominant teams he's seen in the NCAA tournament in his lifetime, and Gonzaga was one of them, which I absolutely agree with them. Dude, they're so good. They're unbelievable in transition. They got 3 guys that can just go. I mean, they're amazing. Good. I'm happy for them. Good for Mark Few. Where are we next? I had Michigan and Bama. I was wrong about East. Is that okay?
Okay, so you had Michigan and Bama, and then you had Michigan winning?
And then I had Michigan winning, yeah. So I whiffed on that one.
Well, at least you had more than I had. I had FSU because I changed it when we got to the Sweet 16. I originally had Michigan versus FSU. I changed it. I picked FSU and Bama. So I went 0 for 3. So you're sitting with what, 4 points? I'm sitting with 3 right now.
Yeah. Did you even have UCLA winning that play-in game?
No. Let me check.
I didn't.
No. I had them losing to, was it Michigan State, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And it was a close game.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, dude, shout out to UCLA, man. Good for them. First 4 to, what was it? The first 4 to the Final Four. Is that
I'm telling you, I said it, and you can go back and listen to a previous podcast. I'm gonna brag on myself real quick. There's something about that play-in game that teams that get going. There's something about it.
You had
maybe it's
right. You did
a talented team that's getting hot that honestly may not deserve it because they're like body of work throughout the season. And it's like, oh, well, they're getting hot, so we're going to put them in. Maybe the committee has a little bit more knowledge upon that than I do.
Yeah.
Because I don't study the Pac-12 basketball too well.
Right.
But, man, every single year I feel like the 11 seeds are making a run. That time that Tennessee made the Sweet 16 with Quanzo Martin, they're 11 seed. They beat Iowa in playing game, win 2 in a row, make the Sweet 16, lose a heartbreaker. I mean, I feel like there's 11 seed making it every year. Oh, Syracuse.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, man. All right. Yeah. So we whiffed on that one. I had Michigan in there. That didn't happen.
All right.
Up to what is
the South?
The South. Is that with Baylor and?
That's a paradox right there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Up to the South.
Hey, how crazy is it that it's the first time in NCAA tournament history that there has not been a team east of the Mississippi?
Dude, that's crazy.
Isn't that crazy? I love it. I mean, I love it. It's pretty cool.
It's crazy. All right. So you had Baylor. So it was Baylor versus.
I had Baylor versus Arkansas.
In
that Elite Eight game.
Okay.
And then I actually picked Baylor. So I picked Baylor.
I did too. So 6-7 right now.
Okay. All right. Coming down to the last one. I think you got me. Well, so I had Loyola and Houston. That was right? Didn't they? Or.
Mm-hmm.
And then, except I picked Loyola over Houston. So I got it.
No. Oregon State. It was Oregon State
Oh, that's right.
First
That's
Houston.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got 0. In my original bracket, I got.
Oh, because you picked Syracuse over Houston, didn't you? That's what it was. You picked Syracuse over Houston.
I did. I ended up doing that.
Okay, I actually picked Houston, so I got that right.
Did you pick Houston going to the Final Four?
No, I had them playing Loyola, and I had Loyola going to the Final Four.
Not on this podcast bracket, but on my original bracket, I have Houston my Final Four and Gonzaga, and those are my only 2.
Okay.
I'm so stupid for not picking Baylor.
Yeah, I know. I mean, that's what it was like, dude, they were the best team in the country.
Yeah, but it was like, oh, they're going to get like
one
of the ones has to lose. And for whatever reason, everyone was riding the Michigan hot train. So
yeah, they were.
I wasn't, but I was riding the Shaka Smart hot train, and Abilene Christian flat out sent him to Marquette.
Oh gosh. Yeah. So in my original bracket, I got on this podcast, I got one team. I had Gonzaga in the Final Four. That was it.
Yeah, I think mine might be the same.
That was all.
Dude, I just can't believe. Like I'm going back to Shaka. I cannot believe that he is no longer the coach at Texas. Was it his decision or was it the schools? Because I understand it's a bad loss, but like it takes time to build a program.
What's he been there? 4 years? That was his fourth year.
4. And he made the NCAA tournament. And what, finished like second?
He was there my senior year, right, when they had Mo Bamba.
Yes.
So this was at least his fourth year. Maybe his fifth.
No, fourth.
Because was that his first?
Senior.
Well, okay.
Yeah, fourth.
I mean, dude, Texas, they're tough on you. If you're not, they're tough on you. I think Shaka wanted to get out.
I mean, I understand that more, but like you want to like. I know it's NIT and everything else, but he literally won an NIT the year before.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like his team. Now, they had some players, and everybody thought this was the year that he should have won. Yeah. But, I mean, I don't know.
That's a tough place.
When you're getting paid money, like big money, it turns into a business, huh?
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
But anyways, ready to get into it?
Let's get into it, dude.
All right.
What's up, Coach?
What's going on, guys? How are you?
We're good. We're good. How are you doing?
Oh, better than I deserve. You guys got quite the setup there, man.
Oh, I don't know about that.
I don't know if it's quite the setup, but it's a setup.
I just got a bunch of junk in my background.
Yeah, well, mine's pretty plain. So
if you got a Lipscomb background you want to throw up there, you're welcome to do that too.
Man, just the fact that I know how to click a Zoom link is way beyond my technology.
I'm getting sick of these Zooms, man. I appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely.
Not podcast Zooms. Podcast Zooms are okay, but done a lot of other Zooms. It's getting old.
No question. We had a couple today, so
a couple today?
We did. We've had a couple the last couple days. So
yeah, we've had a couple this week. Probably gonna have at least one more, and we're loaded next week too.
Really?
Yeah. It's been busy, with this transfer portal and everything. It's been nuts.
Man, it's out of control. Every time I think it's about to start slowing down, it just takes off.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. All right, Coach, we're gonna go ahead and get into it real quick. We got a Lipscomb assistant men's coach Tyler Murray on the show right now. Coach Murray played at Hampden-Sydney College in Virginia. After that, he went on to Charleston Southern. And from Charleston Southern, you went on to, where'd you go from there? You went on to Shorter, correct?
That's right, yep.
Shorter in 2012, 2013 as the associate head coach. You were there for 6 seasons. With Coach Warner, you get named the head coach of Shorter in the 2015-16 season. That's correct, right?
That's right, yep.
Awesome. And then after a successful run at Shorter University, you go on as an assistant at Furman, where you made NIT appearance for the second time in program history. From there, go on to Lipscomb as an assistant coach. Just finished up your second year. Coach, how we doing tonight, man? What's new in the world of Lipscomb University?
Man, we're doing great. Better than we deserve. Thank you guys so much for having me on. Really looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Give us a recap of the season. How was it? I mean, obviously it's hectic. We ask everybody, but what was your experience like?
Yeah, it was a long and unique season, like you mentioned, but that was the case for everybody. I think at the end of the day, we were just grateful to be able to have a season and complete a season and give our guys something to play for. So A season of ups and downs for sure. We had some good stretches and some rough stretches, and but just proud of our guys for their resiliency and ability to just kind of every day was just hang tight, sit by. We're not sure when we're practicing or when we're leaving for this game. So just so many uncertainties and variables in this year that I think made it challenging in itself. But just glad we were able to get through it. Finished third in the league. Unfortunately, we had one of our worst games in the tournament, which is win or go home, and we didn't have a great one. But all in all, it was not a bad year, and we're excited about what we have coming for next year.
Coach, I'm going to ask a question about how he was introducing you, or the first thing he said was Hampton-Sydney. Did you play for Coach Bubba Smith?
I did, yes.
Okay, so there was a little overlap there.
Yep. I played for Bubba at Hampton-Sydney. Yep, he recruited me there, and that's when I started my relationship with him, and we've been friends and have stayed in touch ever since.
Okay, awesome. All right, Asa, continue.
What did you do to stay mentally locked in this year? I mean, is there anything specific you did just to kind of day in and day out make sure you were locked in and focused with everything going on?
That's a great question, and I wish I had a great answer. We just we really try to just look at it day by day, and I know it's not really a fancy answer, but try to avoid looking at our next opponent or our next week or what do we need to get better at, by the end of the week, because you just never knew if you were going to have a practice to get you there. So just kind of focusing day by day, and here's who we have healthy and eligible to participate today, and let's get better today. And I think it was more than any other year, it was important for us to try to keep our guys refreshed and engaged and having fun. I know that's important every season, but especially again, there was just so much stay by your phones and we'll be texting you about practice time and just so much of that to where we really tried to keep them loose and have fun and keep practices, in an energetic environment.
All right. So going off of COVID, right? So without being able to travel this year, how were you able to stay connected and well-informed in the recruiting world?
Wow. I think we're still trying to get a great hold on that.
And hopefully we won't have to do it for much longer.
Right.
Well,
right.
I guess right now that I don't have to, but you guys still have to.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, well, hey, COVID does not travel to D2. You know this. Stays up there. It stays up at Division I.
You guys must all have the antibodies.
We do.
Right, exactly.
NCAA verified.
It's been so challenging. I tell you what, I think when it first started, we were like, okay, this is going to be a unique stretch here. And, obviously we got into the Zooms and FaceTimes and all that. But as it progressed, it's like, wow, there really is no script for this. And everybody's just kind of going off the cuff and trying to go with it on the fly. And so just trying to stay engaged with recruits. I don't think you had the ability, especially at our level, to really get too far ahead of yourself. Where in a normal year, you may want to start checking in on some juniors and some younger guys to keep that board going. I think this year you really had to kind of focus in on just one class, ahead of where you're trying to go. And because again, with the uncertainty, and then once they announced everybody was getting their year back, we really didn't want to address that stuff in the middle of the year. So it's like, are guys coming back? Are they not? How many scholarships? Just so many variables to where we just we try to stay in touch with the guys we liked, all the while trying to keep new names populating through our recruiting database and just trying to give ourselves the best chance, and we finally got a hold on how many scholarships and what we were going to need, having a large sample size to kind of dig from.
So speaking of recruiting, this transfer portal is absolute madness right now. Yes. We got over 1,100 kids already. I don't know, what y'all's plan is or how y'all are going about it, but I mean, what's up? I mean, because this is crazy. What's going into all this? Why is it happening? Is it ever going to happen again? Is it going to get worse every year? What's going on with that?
The porta potty. Yeah, it is going nuts, man. And I tell you what, like I said earlier, every time I feel like it's all right, it's probably going to slow down now, it just takes off again. And the more coaches I talk to are like, man, I still think we've got one or two more guys on our team that could drop in there. And now it's just getting out of control. I mean, everybody sees it as an opportunity to kind of hit reset on their recruitment. And, whether they weren't playing or were playing and had success, it's became a mess. And unfortunately, I don't think it's slowing down. I think it's going to continue to evolve and continue to get bigger and bigger and have more and more names. And, I think there was 1,300 last time I checked. And I mean, every time you go to your phone, there's like 10 more names every 30 seconds. And it's just, I think for some schools, it could be a benefit and it could be an attraction, for the schools that a large part of their recruitment is transfers and that kind of stuff. But for a place like Lipscomb, where we've really tried hard to kind of make it a developmental program and stick true to bringing in young guys and kind of developing them through the years they're here, it can be good and bad. I think, the obvious thing that everybody complains about right now, and rightfully so, is, well, I think there's going to be so many mistakes made in recruiting, i.e. a lot of kids go to schools that they're not good enough to go to, which means next year they'll probably be right back in the portal. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. We're kind of taking the approach here of, well, can we find and identify some diamonds in the rough that in a normal year we wouldn't be able to get, but because of the circumstances and the climate, we're able to kind of get in there and grab some kids that a year or two from now, people are like, how in the world did you get them?
So I actually love what you said, because you're talking about 4-year guys, but a lot of transfers will probably have 3 or 4 years left.
Yes, no question.
Yeah, that's what's so crazy about all of it.
I know. And really, the most attractive kids in the portal, I think, especially for the kids our age, or for the schools at our level, are the ones, like you said, that have multiple years left. You get a kid who, especially with this year back, there's kids that if they redshirted their first year and then played this year, they've been in college 2 years, but they're still like a high school senior. Like, that's crazy. That they've got 4 more years, but yet they've been in college for 2 years. So those kids, I think, can be really attractive, especially to someone like us, because they've already used their one-time transfer. Until they get to the graduate transfer threshold, they're kind of stuck in that middle where they can't go anywhere. At least you hope not. So they're certainly more attractive than the kids that, have a year or two. But, you get a high school kid who you thought was a diamond in the rough and they have a really good year. Well, there's a chance you could lose them. And if they don't play as much as they want, there's a chance you can lose them. It's, a buddy of mine said the other day, it's almost like you're operating off a bunch of 1-year NBA contracts. Like, it's just year to year. If they have a really good year, it's going to be tough to re-sign them. And if they don't have a really good year, they're going to want to opt to free agency.
Yeah. That's funny. But I think when I was in college, I feel like there's always that opportunity. We have the one free transfer now, right? But there really was already, you just had to redshirt that year. It wasn't like you were technically using or losing a year of eligibility. You just had to redshirt, which in some people's mind could have been used as a year to get better at basketball. So I don't know how I feel completely on the giving up on high school kids. And that's not what you're saying. I'm just elaborating on it maybe differently, if that makes sense.
Yep. No, it does completely. And I agree. I think at the end of the day, whatever your philosophy was before this, I think there's 2 sides to it. I think you got to fight to try to stay in that lane in terms of what it was before this whole thing went mess. But at the same time, I think what you can't do is just say, well, you know what, screw the landscape of college basketball and what these kids are doing. We're going to stay true to what we are. Like, I do think you have to be willing to adapt to the climate of what things are doing. Now, it doesn't mean you got to do a wholesale change and completely go away from what your beliefs and foundation is in recruiting. But to sit here and say, well, screw the porta potty, I'm not going to, remember my login, and I'm not even going to go in there and look at the portal. Like, I think that's some hard-headedness in itself.
100%. Always looking to grow.
So you've been at two Division I private schools, right? Is there any hurdles or maybe something different that you gotta go through at a private school as opposed to a public school?
Yeah, I think the biggest one,
especially now, Lipscomb being a Christian school.
Right. Well. Yep. And Charleston Southern was similar. It was a private Baptist university, and so there was similar challenges there as well. I think probably one of the bigger ones is, usually with the private universities, there's a little bit more of an academic hurdle to get over. By no means are either of those Ivy League schools, but you've got that academic element that you've got to navigate those waters for sure. And then, both Charleston Southern and Lipscomb have the faith-based element. And so I think, we look at that as a huge bonus and plus. If we can identify the right type of kids, I think that's a huge turn on. We understand it's a turn off to some people, and that's certainly understandable. But I think just knowing where you're at, and again, like you said, whether it's private or faith-based or whatever, just knowing where you're at, and instead of looking at it like, gosh, there's so many hurdles, trying to stay in your lane and just say, well, you know what, we've just got to go identify kids that are attracted to this, and not kids that we're going to have to do all this smoke and mirrors and try to pretend, we are who we're not.
Mm-hmm. Let's rewind a little bit. So playing at Hampden Sydney, was there a moment that you knew you wanted to coach after playing, or did you go into playing knowing that? At what point did you know that coaching was the route for you to take?
It's a great question. I did not go into college knowing I wanted to coach. I was not one of those kids by any means. But I think as my college career progressed, and again, I wasn't a very good player, but I wanted to try to play at the next level and see what that looked like and be a part of a team. And I got everything I'd wished for plus some at Hampden Sydney. But as my career progressed, I think it was a combination of, wow, I really like this, and I really like the coaching element that I see, combined with, as silly as it sounds, like I'm just not cut out for a suit and a desk and a 9 to 5.
I say that all the time.
and so you got that element, and then you've got the element of, seeing how the coaches operate in the day to day and the schematics and the game planning and scouting and all that stuff that kind of was a big attraction for me, combined with, these guys are kind of got the freedom to come and go, and they're working out, and they got workout clothes on. Like, this is pretty cool. Let me kind of dig into this a little bit more.
Absolutely.
I'm with you, man. I am so with you.
So you were an assistant coach at Shorter, head coach at Shorter, and then you moved back to Furman, or not back to Furman. You go to Furman, then Lipscomb. So what was the hardest part for you, or toughest moment or moments, moving from an assistant coach to a head coach, that transition? And then after you give me that, I know I'm giving you a lot of questions right here, and moving from a head coach back to an assistant. Because I know there had to be some tough moments.
It's a really good question. I certainly think there's similarities between an assistant and head coach, but I also think there's a lot of differences. And, as an assistant coach, your focus is just on different things. I mean, the head coach is the CEO of the program, and he wears so many different hats. And whereas an assistant, you're just kind of focused on your players and recruiting. I mean, there's just, obviously you've got academics and some other elements, but you're not really worried about fundraising and boosters and meeting with your AD. That's a different role. And so as an assistant coach, it was really fun and attractive because you kind of had your lane and your 2 or 3 things to focus on. And, you'd listen to the head coach complain about other stuff, but you didn't really have to deal with that. And so that was really fun. And recruiting, again, as an assistant coach, you just have so much more time to devote to recruiting. And as a young assistant, that was the number one thing that really excited me about coaching, was recruiting and getting out on the road and building these relationships. And so I love that. But as I progress as an assistant, each and every year you're like, man, I would love the opportunity to run my own program and to kind of be able to take a little bit from here and there. And so, when I left Shorter as an assistant and went to Charleston Southern as an assistant, that was awesome, getting that Division I experience, and then having the opportunity to come back to Shorter as the head coach. And I was 28 years old, and I didn't know what I didn't know. But it was just an opportunity that I was so excited and grateful for. And obviously having the familiarity with Shorter, being there as an assistant, helped out a lot. But just coming back and being able to, is on a smaller level, being able to put together your staff and recruit your players, and hey, I like what I learned from this program. I'm not crazy about that. Let's do this. And just kind of throwing it on the wall and seeing what sticks. And so as a head coach, I say it all the time. I understand why when people become their own bosses, whether it's in sports or in the business world, it's really hard to go back to taking orders. And so being my own boss as a head coach was awesome. That was something I really miss a lot. And, and so then to the second part, going back, into those assistant coaching reins. And it was, I'll be honest with you, it was a lot harder than I thought it would be. I knew there would be challenges, but the immediate one really had nothing to do with basketball. And again, and I worked for great people, but you no longer control your schedule.
That is what I've heard from multiple head coaches. I feel like that have transitioned back into the assistant coaching world, is you don't have control over your own schedule anymore.
No, and again, as silly as it sounds, like as a head coach, if you want to practice in the morning, guess what? You practice in the morning. And if you want to practice at night, you do that. And if you want to go home for lunch, you do that. And there's not a whole lot of checks and balances. And as an assistant, obviously you hope that you're given freedom, but again, like, they're not really worried about what's convenient for you. And so it's more, and again, you're putting back on hats. I mean, as a head coach, the one thing I missed the most was recruiting. I mean, I tried to be involved in it, but when you're planning practices and preparing for a game and scouting and, oh yeah, you got fundraising and all this, like, you feel disconnected from recruiting. And so going back in that assistant coaching seat, you were able to get back into the recruiting game, which was exciting. But again, there's a lot of things I miss, from being a head coach for sure.
Sure. That's great.
At some point when you're a head coach, you have a bunch of young coaches nagging you to come on a podcast with them. That they just... Well, hey, were you at Shorter with Mario when Mario was there?
I was, yes.
Was that his first? How long were you there with him?
Gosh, I'm trying to think. I think I was there for 2 years with him.
Okay.
It was definitely a year, and I think it was 2. And then when I left for Charleston Southern, he stayed there for, I think, another year.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, he moved on to some other stuff. But yeah, I worked with him for several years. Yep.
So
yep.
Did you know Brock Rowan?
I did. I coached Brock. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So I played AAU with Brock early on in high school. I knew Brock, and then Blake Sellen. I got to know Blake a little bit. Did you know Blake?
Yes. Yeah. Blake was my assistant when I came back as the head coach.
Okay. Gotcha. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Blake's my guy, man. He's in the foxhole with me, and he helped me my first 2 years when I was about to jump off a bridge.
That's all. Blake's a good dude. What was Coach Warner like? Because he's at Flagler now, right? And they just didn't they? I mean, did they make it to the Final Four in Division II?
Right? No, he was in our region. I was with him.
Okay.
Cool. I met him for the first time.
So what was it like, working for a guy like Coach Warner, and then now him, being where he's at? How was that?
Yeah, first of all, I couldn't be more excited for them and getting to the Final Four. I mean, I think it was the first winning season that school's had in like 20 years. So what he's done in 4 quick years down there is unbelievable. He gave me my first job. He actually was an assistant at Hampton-Sydney when Bubba was the head coach.
Okay.
Really?
So he was an assistant. He recruited me to Hampton-Sydney. And then when I finished up at Hampton-Sydney, he was the head coach at Shorter. And so he gave me a graduate assistant spot. Went down there, worked for him, stayed on for a while. So he's one of my best friends, but even more just an unbelievable mentor to me. And what they're doing down there is awesome. And they've got a pretty good gig down there. I don't feel sorry for them a whole lot waking up on the beach in St. Augustine.
No way. Gosh, they were good this year. I mean, they had a point guard. Never mind. I'm not going to speak to you guys about anybody, but
I told him when I went and watched him in the regional, I was like, you think I'm here supporting you, but really I'm here watching your players.
Right.
It's funny, but it's not funny to us. So anyways, moving forward. All right, Coach. So we do 3 keys every week. Hey, it's our livelihood, So anyway, we do 3 keys every week, as in I ask 3 keys to the guest, and then they give me the answers because they are smarter than I. Today, you are that guest.
Uh-oh.
All right. So this seems pretty bland, like your wall, but I'm going to hopefully you'll be able to dissect it a little more and give a little bit better quality of answers, better than I'm asking. So what are your 3 biggest keys to being a good basketball coach? I know it sounds bland, but you can dive into it any way you want to take it.
Yeah. Wow. 3 biggest keys to being a good coach. I think the first thing is identifying and surrounding yourself with people that you trust, and that goes, obviously the staff is a huge part of that, and it goes into your team as well. Just surrounding yourself with people that you trust and that you enjoy being around and you enjoy interacting with. And again, I think that starts with your staff. A lot of times people forget how important it is that your team mirrors your staff, and so making sure you've got that staff together. So I think that's really important, identifying the right people to be around. I think so much of coaching is managing people. A long time ago, someone once told me, you treat everybody fair, it doesn't mean you treat everybody the same. And so I think being able to manage a company, an organization, I mean, let's be honest, that's what a team is. And so being able to, again, treat everybody fair, but know that this player over here, may be different than this player and this player. And so keeping everybody on the same page and engaged, but also not knowing, hey, it's not going to be the same for everybody. I think that's really, really important. And then I think just building a level of competitiveness. And again, I think that starts with your staff, making sure your teams are competitive and willing to compete. And obviously the games, that's a huge part in practice, but off the court, in the classroom, all those things, I'm just a firm believer in competitive people are successful. And that's more than just, I want to win this drill or this game. But I think guys that have that drive as a staff, I think you need competitive assistants that want to go out and try to compete for recruits and compete for, people that are bringing into your program. And I think you want competitive players. So I don't know. That's a great question, but without giving it a whole lot of thought, those would be 3 areas that I would really hope to be successful in.
Oh, I definitely put you on the spot, but identify and surround yourself with people you trust, managing people, trust, or treat everybody differently. Treat everybody fairly, but not the same.
Correct.
And then building a level of competitiveness that starts in the coaching staff. I love it.
How did your first coaching job, or how did your first coaching gig transpire? How did that work? Just what's the story of how you first got your first coaching gig?
Yep. So, I was really fortunate enough, like I said, that, leaving Hampton-Sydney, Coach Warner actually left going into my senior year. So he was down at Shorter. As I was finishing up, I thought I wanted to get into this coaching thing, but I also wasn't sure. So I was like, maybe I can go try to get a master's while I'm figuring this out. So I was really fortunate enough to transition into a graduate assistant at Shorter, to where I could get a master's while I was trying to see if this is something I wanted to kind of commit to. And I know everybody's different. Everybody's got their own philosophy in terms of what's the best way to break into this profession. But for me, I'm really a firm believer in terms of the earlier you can get the most amount of experience, the better. I know in today's day and age, everybody's about D1 or die, and how do I get to the D1 level? And that's great. But I just, as a 22-year-old graduate assistant at an NAIA school in Rome, Georgia, I was able to get on the road and recruit, get on the floor and work guys out, be on the floor for practice. I mean, you can't do any of that at the Division I level. And so just being able to get that hands-on experience at 22 years old. I'm sitting in kids' homes with their parents at 23 doing in-home visits, not having a clue what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. And so the restrictions are just so less at the lower levels. And I know guys that break in at the Division I as an ops, and all of a sudden they're, high up as well. So I'm not saying it's the only way, but for me, just getting that experience early on was really, really valuable.
That's awesome.
Okay, so real quick, and then we got some rapid fire. You know Russ, right?
Russ
Williamson.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So he says y'all talk about stocks a lot. Now is your chance to publicly give him some advice, because let him tell it. He's been getting rocked for the last month. So what stock advice do you have for Russ?
Man, Russ is the one always giving me the stocks.
He's been struggling recently.
I told him to jump on GVO. I think he did. And GVO shot up really high, and then we both held on too long, and then it crashed. Go figure. It's the story of our life. I'm trying to get Russ on Bitcoin, man. He won't jump on it.
He hopped on that. He hopped on that one that Elon Musk was pumping, that Dogecoin or something. I'm sure he told you about it.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. Okay, real quick, you mind doing some rapid fire questions?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. First one, last technical.
When I was a head coach, no. You know what? Believe it or not, last year as an assistant here at Lipscomb.
First year at Lipscomb, you got a tech as an assistant?
We were at North Alabama. It was clearly an over-the-back call. We were getting screwed, as you can imagine. And I think I just stood up and yelled over the back, and some Johnny turned and whacked me. But they missed a 3 at the buzzer, and we won, and we were celebrating in the locker room, and hopefully everybody forgot about it. But I have to be honest, the easy answer was when I was a head coach. But no, that was the last.
Have you ever been kicked out of a game?
I have not. No.
Have you ever dunked a basketball on a 10-foot rim?
Twice in college.
Okay.
In a game or in practice?
In a game. Yeah. I've actually got VHS footage of it. It's really blurry, so none of our players believe it. Yeah, it happened twice.
Okay. At the end of a game, you're up 3. Do you foul or do you let it play out?
Under 7 seconds, I'm fouling.
Okay.
7 and under, I'm fouling. Over 7, I'm playing it out. We talked about it several times this year, and we worked on it. And then sure enough, when you get in that moment, you're still not sure what to do. Half the staff's divided, half's not. I noticed the other night in the UCLA game, Alabama. Yeah. They're like, well, Mick Cronin always fouls under 7. Here it comes, and he didn't foul.
Yeah, and they hit the 3.
It honestly looked like they couldn't get to him. It looks like they played so far back off.
Yes.
They were about to foul him, and then he just passed it quick.
Mm-hmm.
I know. It made me feel better. I'm like, all right, that was his philosophy, and yet, like you said, either they didn't get to him.
It almost happened last night, but Juzang missed the free throws, and they were only up 2. I believe it almost happened last night too.
That's right. Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, that is as flawlessly as that question has ever gone. So thank you for answering.
That was Asa. 1, congratulations. That was the best way you've presented it.
Thank you.
The whole time we've been doing it. 2, great answer, Coach. I mean, best answer maybe that we've had yet.
That is exactly how I envisioned that question going from the first time I asked it about 10 episodes ago. It took me 10 times. All right, okay. Leave your best player in with 2 fouls in the first half.
That's one where it depends on the player.
Yeah.
If he's a kid I trust and I think can handle it, yes. I've also coached guys that I don't think can handle it. I think that is a feel thing. But I will tell you this, I'm not opposed to putting him back in the game. I'm not going to sit there and lose the game in the first half while he's on the bench just to protect him.
That's a good point. Go for the tie or go for the win?
Go for the tie if we're at home. Go for the win if we're on the road.
Okay. Suits or sweats on the sideline?
Sweats all day long.
There we go. Early morning practice or evening or night practice?
Evening. I actually love morning practices and having it done. I haven't had a lot of success of consistently having good practices with a team in the morning. So evening would probably be the best.
If you could not coach basketball or be in the world of sports, what would you do?
Gosh. Something in sales, pharmaceutical sales.
Okay. Can you break 100 in golf?
I can, yes.
What's your handicap?
When I was playing a lot, I could shoot in the low 80s.
Okay.
Right now, I'm probably more mid to upper 80s. But I love golf. I don't. I do too. But I love it.
It's besides basketball, it's the greatest game ever made. Should every team make the conference tourney?
Yes.
LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
Okay.
Gosh.
Thank you, Coach. That went, Nate. I think that went great. I think that was probably our best one yet. It was quick and concise.
Hey, so let me tell you something about you. You went home. You did your homework. You practiced it in front of a mirror. You did a great job.
Oh man. Well, thank you, Coach. I appreciate that, man. I appreciate you coming on in such short notice. Do you have a Twitter or Instagram? Where can the people find you?
I do. I have both. If your next question is what is it, I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll do some research for you, and I'll put it in there in the video portion when I do the editing. So I'll put it in there for you. You don't have to do that right now.
Thank you. I think it's Coach T. Murray maybe, but I'd appreciate that. It's pretty pitiful. I don't know what it is, but I am on there. I'm not very good or active. I don't tweet a whole lot, but for recruiting purposes, I think it's kind of necessity.
That's fine. Well, you can always hit up Lipscomb Men's Basketball on Twitter or Instagram as well. You can find myself just on Instagram at the Ace of Spades. You can find Nathan on Instagram and Twitter at Nate5_Moran. And you can find Mind of a Coach on Twitter at Mind of a Coach 1 and on Instagram at Mind of a Coach. We thank y'all for tuning in, and we will see y'all next week. Coach Murray, we appreciate it, man.
Appreciate y'all. Thanks so much.
Thank you.